for the bills. That's it. If you ain't getting my hair done, if you ain't getting my nails done, if you ain't doing nothing for me, then I don't need you here. It's not 50-50. It's not 80-20. It's 100% to 0.
It's one side. Look, that's why American relationships are failures. That's why American women on a global context are the worst for relationships, long-term period. That's why the divorce rate is the highest in the world here. And that's why on the desirability level, American women are at the bottom of the global barrel. This is all statistically documented from men, because at the end of the day, the ones who decide if a woman is valuable for a relationship is men.
Well, the man is the person that's going to have to, obviously, propose and buy the ring and all that stuff.
Give them the ring.
Real quick.
I really do believe that modern feminism encourages male absence. It encourages it because it's become toxic. They use terms like toxic masculinity, right? And I say to myself, all of their examples of the idea of what it means to be a man now is toxic. They think, oh, this is a man. Masculinity is wrong. There's something inherently wrong with being a masculine man. And to me, I always say that it was toxic masculinity that saved me. You know, I had a healthy fear of my grandfather. Nobody played around with my grandfather. We still don't play around with my grandfather, you know, and it's just, there's a certain level of respect when you're in his home. There are rules. And because I had that healthy fear, I was, I guess, more responsive to that sort of authority when I had to go out in real life. You know, I believed in structure. And yet this version of feminism today, we have women that are basically promoting men should act like women, right? And women should act like men. There's all this confusion. You can pick your gender, you can do what you want. And ultimately what I think it's doing is feeding into this idea of a breakdown of the family.
So this is fantastic. This is fantastic right here. The passport bros, they're being ruffling the feathers, and now they're starting to get the attention of the more peripheral media outlets. We haven't quite got to CNN, Fox or MSNBC or any of the major US outlets yet, but it's coming. It's definitely trending in that direction, and that's definitely on the horizon. I would say in the next 3 to 4 months, we should be hitting the mainstream. I would say we're currently at the fringe of mass media, and at the moment you're seeing a lot of channels, a lot of guys that are actually not only sitting behind a desk, but also in the field in South America, in Southeast Asia. I haven't really seen too many brothers in Europe yet, but I'm sure that's also on the way too. So right now we're getting we're creating effectively an economy. So this is a cottage industry being created. So a few years ago we had Kevin Samuels, who was literally a multi-million pound industry. I mean, I'm talking tens of millions over his content and sort of the reactions to his content. So this right here is the 2023 adaptation of the conversation, and it's the passport bros. So we all know at this point what the passport bros are about. We all know the philosophy. I would actually like to thank everybody for helping me reach 2,000. I've just hit 2,000 subscribers. I do want to be putting out more content. I will be. 1MT has been hounding me to kind of get back onto this content creation journey, and I do intend to step it up. We're heading into spring now. You know, I'm in the UK, so UK winter time's very grey. Not much to do but grind, work, earn that money, which we'll be spending abroad. Yep, we making sure our resources are well protected in the UK and in the USA. Before I read it, just a disclaimer. I like to state what the passport bros are doing is totally legal and ethical. Passport bros are a group of men that are fed up with the laws and liberal feminism in the Western world. The US, the UK, Australia, you get the picture. So they're taking their resources, their money, their employment, and even their pensions overseas in search of greener pastures. They will meet younger women who are of legal marriage age and get married whether they stay in the country or bring them back here. That's entirely their choice and their free will. This can't be stopped as it is completely legal and within their rights to do so. On TikTok, you're going to find a ton of strags and degenerates attacking the passport bros, but this is falling on deaf ears at the end of the day. The passport bros have made their mind up. 2023 is the breakout year. Brothers are ready to take off and find their soulmates, happiness and success. And that's the bottom line. So back to this article. It's on Yahoo News and it's by Travel Noir. So it reads, the passport bros have officially divided our internet. A growing group of thousands of black men is preaching to more men on social media platforms that women in other countries are the best source for a traditional woman to settle down with. Just follow the hashtag and you'll see black men of all ages describing their experiences with the opposite sex in other countries compared to the women in the United States. Most of our content on Travel Noir consists of stories of people traveling and living abroad to find inner peace and happiness as a person of color on this earth. Black people have suffered through so many forms of prejudice in the United States that we've sought other countries to feel like human beings. The Passport Bros movement could be seen as an annex to the same inner peace and happiness concept. A group of black men who don't feel needed and admired by black women looking for love overseas. They travel to different destinations worldwide and find happiness with a partner of the opposite sex. You see, the thing is, and I've been saying this for a while, modern women have basically priced themselves out of marriage and family. If we look at the cost of dating in America or the UK, if we look at the appetite that modern women have for high luxury, fine dining restaurants, so we combine that with the flake rate. You know, back in the day, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, flaking wasn't really a thing. It wasn't really a thing. We go into that in another video. But when you add everything together and you look at the expectations and then also you factor in the divorce rate in the West, which is the highest in the world, logically, men are logical. We don't look at life through the lens of emotion the way women tend to do. Well, at a certain point, the market breaks. At a certain point, you start to look for an alternative, and this passport bro movement is the alternative. I mean, God forbid you get married 10 years, get divorced, and you now have to pay lifetime alimony, child support. And that's the thing, these laws were written in the 40s and 50s. In that context, if we fast forward to 2023, they don't work. And if Congress don't look to change these rules, you're going to just see further decrease of marriages in the West. So, men have wisened up, men have smartened up. This is, after all, the information era. So information is passing hands and brothers are not going for it. And one of the main reasons that women are upset with this movement is they really wanted the passport bros to be the cleanup guys. That's what they wanted. 20s, they spend time with Chads, Pookies, Tyrones. And in the 30s, you've got the main bulk of guys there for you to go and get married and be stepdaddy. And no, brothers ain't doing that anymore. That's definitely not the move in 2023. The way cost of living is, the way the ratio between earnings and house prices, that would be a stupid move in today's world. And let me show you a screenshot. Some of these ladies, they're already starting to wave the white flag. Economically, it's going to get real scary in the next, from here on to the next 5 years, 10 years. They may never even be a reprieve. Let's read this out. So, I can't cope. It's the elderly and anyone with young children that gets me. We getting rinsed. She's referring to the UK government changing the price cap for energy bills over in the UK. They're about 3 times what they were a year or so ago, and it's causing a storm in the UK. Worldwide, I think everyone's facing increased energy bills, of course. So it's not unique to the UK. So, but the thing is, she's an attractive lady. The lady that's put this post up here, I know her personally. She has 3 kids. She's in her late 30s, going on to 40 pretty much. 3 kids by at least 2 different guys. I don't actually know the father of children. I know this chick personally. And the thing is, women, she's an attractive woman. I give her a 8. It's definitely an 8. She'll get saved. Even after 3 children, she will get saved. She is somewhat insulated from the fallout, the fallout between black men and black women in modern society. But the people that are going to feel it the most, it's the average female, the average black female specifically. They're going to feel it the most. They don't have the raw physical beauty to weather a storm, which is the passport bros. They are going to be out in the wilderness. They're going to be dealing with increased cost of living, just real hardship is coming in the next 5 to 10 years, starting now. And the real beautiful women, they are not really going to feel it. I'll be honest with you. They're not going to feel it. They are insulated because there's enough simps that are making enough money to finance them, whether it be through OF, through finding a sugar daddy or a man with resources. They'll be just fine. But a lot of women are going to start feeling it. See, men instinctively know that nobody's coming to save us. So that's why it's very logical for us to earn our 50, 60, 70, 80,000 US dollars in the States or the UK and then go and leverage that abroad, because no one's going to save us. There's no captain, save a dude coming to steady the ship, and I don't understand why women don't really understand this. This is just basic logic. We're going to go where we're respected. We're going to go where we're going to get treated fairly. We're going to get our match. We're going to get something for our dollar, as Kevin used to say. How much does your cooperation cost? So back to the article. So what it boils down to is just basic logic. You can stay in the States, you can stay in the UK, you can deal with a 4 or 5, you may get a 6. That's what's going to make up the large bulk of the possibilities for brothers. Or you can get your passport, travel to my favorite, I say favorite, it's the place where I feel most at home. That's the Dominican Republic. Not discounting Brazil or Colombia. Those countries are, probably better. They're probably better than the Dominican, but for me, the Dominican Republic just has some type of homeliness that I like. I say that to say you can go to the Dominican and pick up a 6, 7, 8, or 9. If you're lucky, you're 9. Nines are rare wherever you go in the world. So it's an easy choice for any man with any semblance of logic and intelligence. So the choice is yours, guys. Kevin Samuels made a great point as well. He said that if the average woman is overweight, then basically that's what women are trying to say black men deserve. The average black woman is 80% of black women are overweight. So by that logic, you're just saying the average black man, why does an average black man have to get an overweight woman? That's the question that black men need to start posing to black women. And that's kind of where the end point of the whole thing, because you by default are in a game which is completely rigged against you. If only 20% of the women in the States are effectively wifeable, because I personally would not wife an overweight woman, plain and simple. So you're dealing with a game where you're eliminating 80% of the people off rip straight away. So automatically, it's a game of logic. And like I said, we don't play it off emotions and feelings. We play it off facts, statistics, numbers, logic. And if you go for brothers that like women are in shape, Brazil has a heavy gym culture. Colombia also has a good gym culture. Being attractive in Colombia is almost like it's a necessity, really. You know, they have a saying that there's no ugly women in Colombia, only poor women. And they say that for a reason. So Colombia probably has one of the highest average SMVs for women in the world. So, you know, Ethiopia has one of the slimmest rates in the world. Slimmest rates. Let me rephrase that. It has one of the lowest obesity rates in the world. So for brothers that like that, you know how women were built in the 90s. American black women were built in like the 80s, 90s, and the 70s. Women built like that. You know, that's my favorite era of black American women. So that will be the equivalent now. You know, everywhere around the world, people are getting bigger. So that's something to bear in mind everywhere in the world. Even in the Dominican, the obesity rate 30 years ago was not like it is now. But luckily, because of the heat, I always say the hot country definitely plays a part when it comes to physiques and also being able to walk daily and sweat and perspire. A lot of women just don't sweat. That's the issue. A lot of women, they stack in carbs, they eat and they live in these cold environments, these which are effectively hostile environments like New York, London, and they packing on the pounds. It's a defense mechanism effectively. So you ideally want a woman that is in a warm country so she can maintain that frame, you know. And you brothers can see what I like by, you know, my videos. You can kind of get an idea. So, and the West, USA, UK, it's about to put their foot on these people's necks right now, because financially it's going up and up. And that's the thing. See, men, we've kind of cottoned on to what's going on, the inflation, the actual end goal. It don't look too pretty in the US, in the UK. So brothers are quietly, you know, we're stacking up acorns. You know, we're going into, you know, we've come out of a winter now. So we've been harvesting. We're ready to kind of come out of hibernation, and we're going to continue stacking our coins. And eventually, you know, we're gonna be taking a leap of faith. Some of us are going to be going out to these countries and actually living full time. We're going to be working remotely. You know, there's going to be brothers doing YouTube, brothers in IT, and the women aren't doing this. Full stop. You know, they like to go on their trips. They like to go to Dubai. They like to go to New York. I mean, that's for British ladies. For the American ladies, they like to go to Mexico, Cancun. That's another popular one. They do all these trips in the Caribbean, but it's all expensive. It's all gonna drain their pockets. It's gonna keep them in debt, keep them to be wage slaves, and they ain't seeing it coming, guys. That's the kind of thing it gets me kind of giddy, because it's gonna get real aggressive. You know, whenever you back something into a corner, like you increase its stress, it gets aggressive. And that's what the world's going to be like. New York, London, you see it in the news. London has a knife crime issue. You know, in America, you have, you know, a lot of guys shooting. You have women shooting, killing people, because everybody's aggressive. Everybody's backs up against the wall. And the passport bros, we're not going for that. We are taking our resources, we quietly collecting our coins, and we going abroad.